Hey everyone, I'm Neil and welcome back to my garage. Today is a first for me. I'm actually going to be filming outside the garage, so I'm pretty excited about that. It's part 2 of our 2-part Plantmobile series. In part 1, we went through and built it and tested it. In part 2, we're actually going to be driving over to my parents' place today so that we can install the Plantmobile in their backyard. If you haven't seen part 1, go ahead and click on the video right now. If you have seen it, thank you. I appreciate it. And with that, let's go ahead and drive on over. Hey everyone, welcome back. We made it to the backyard. Sorry for the noise. I'm going to go ahead and speak quickly. As you can see on my right side and left of your screen, we have the pole that we're going to be inserting our Plantmobile into. And then you could also see one of the limitations that we have as well is this tree. I mentioned it in the design series, but the only reason we could do a max of 32 inches in diameter for our mobile is because we want to be able to spin the mobile around without hitting any of these branches. Also to note that I didn't mention in my previous video is that my mom's actually the one who came up with this concept. She sketched everything and she let me know what she wanted. All I did was put saw blade to wood. So with that, let's go ahead and get started on this build. And that's a big shout out to you, Mom. Thanks. All right, now what we have to do is we have to check to see if our post fits inside of our pole. I don't expect it to. And it doesn't. It's about 1/8 of an inch too big. If you note in the first video, I did say I cut this to 3 1/8, but now it looks like we need to shave it down. So no worries because I brought a belt sander. And sorry about the noise one more time. You could see why I prefer to shoot inside of a garage. And so we're going to switch over to voiceover mode. Alright, so now that we have the belt sander out, we're going to take off what we need to in order to get the corners rounded so that this post will fit into the pole easily. I recommend using a belt sander for this and not a regular orbital sander because it's just going to be quicker. Alright, after a quick test fit, we just need to round the corners a little bit more and then we're done. Now we need to protect our wood from touching the metal pole, so we need to put a gasket around it to prevent it from dry rotting. So you could pick up this foam gasket at any big box store and go ahead and cut it to size. All right, we're just going to put some staples so that it holds. Really, it's the screws that are going to hold this in place. The staples are just nice to have. And the reason we're doing the whole thing is because we don't know yet what height the post is going to be on for the pole. So if we do the whole thing now, depending on where we raise it up, we can cut off the excess. So we're going to do a test fit of the post in the pole right now, and hopefully it fits nice and snug. And it does. Success. So now we're going to come back to the workbench and we're going to add our glue. I recommend using Titebond 3 because this is an outdoor application, so use a liberal amount. And then we're going to reassemble this thing just like we did in video 1. We're going to put the block back on the post and then we're going to screw it down manually, just because I want to make sure we find the holes before we actually use the impact driver. And once we tighten it down good enough, then we'll come back with the impact driver and finish it off. Okay, we have all 3 screws screwed down now. And then we can go ahead and flip our Plantmobile so that we can assemble the 1/4 inch screws for all 4 of the swivel holes. And same thing, we're going to use a screwdriver and then tighten it down with an impact driver. Perfect. Now that we have that, we're going to test it and it works. And now we're going to mark the holes for our hooks. We're going to do about 3 inches off of the end on all 4 sides. And then since these are 2x2s, we're going to do right in the middle, which is about 3/4 of an inch. We're going to be using a drill guide for our drill bit. If you don't have this, I recommend picking one up at a big box store. I think I got mine for $8. And then we can go ahead and punch our holes just to make sure we get in the middle. And then our drill guide block is going to make sure that we drill perpendicular to the blocks. So that's going to be perfect for our hooks. Okay, once we drill, we're going to turn this and then we're going to drill our other hole. And then we're going to be using a 3/16 inch bit to drill our pilot hole for our hooks because that's what our hook recommends. And I picked these hooks up at Home Depot for about $1 a piece. I'd like to thank my friends for giving me this candle as a housewarming gift. I know they probably expected me to burn it, but it's getting a lot more use out of my shop. I recommend that for any of these hooks that you use the candle wax as a nice lubricant so that the hook goes in easier. All right, and now we're just showing we've got all 4 hooks in. And then we can move back over to the pole, and we need to drill the holes for our post. So we're going to do 1 hole on this side, 2 inches from the top. And I forgot to use the correct drill bit. So now we have one that's titanium nitride, so that makes the job a lot easier. On this side, we're going to drill 1 inch from the top of the pole. So take your time and go slow. And then here we're going to mark in the center of the post, just so that we know where to line it up once we put our post inside our pole. We're going to do that on both sides, and that becomes an indicator for us to watch as we look at the hole. Again, make sure that you have the gasket go in perfectly fine. If I had to do this again, I would probably use some leveling squares to make sure that this thing stays 90 degrees perpendicular to the pole. And then now we want to drill in our first screw. Take your time, and then on this side you want to grab the level and then drill in the other screw. Okay, we've put on 3 of our plants. We're putting on the 4th one, and then still leaning a little bit for me. So now we're going to pull it from the back by adding another exterior 1/4 inch screw. Thanks, Mom, for helping me. I got her seal of approval. Okay, now we're going to spin this thing and test it out and see if it works. And indeed, it does work. It swivels clockwise and counterclockwise. And it's all good.
Alright, as you guys could see in that previous clip, we have the Plantmobile up and running. It's fully functional. I'll probably come back in 2 weeks to check on it, but I'll speak quickly as it's getting dark. I'd like to thank my folks for giving me the time and space in order to work in their backyard, as well as you guys for watching the 2 videos in this series. I appreciate it very much. Don't forget to subscribe, as it really helps the channel out. And as always, let me know down in the comments what you liked and didn't like, or what you would like to see in a future video. Don't forget, we also have a 7-video series on how we design this using SOLIDWORKS for Makers, so check that out. As always, I'm Neil the Garage Guy, and have a great day. Peace.